it's not just 100% people coming out of college and, you know, making a paper pushing path. They tend to seek and reward real world experience at this company.
The company was founded by James McHugh, I believe the first, around the fourth at this point, in 1897. He was an Irish immigrant and started out as a masonry contractor, and the business grew throughout the years.
So I guess what are some of the more notable projects you've worked on?
Our first big mark on the city that I'm aware of was Marina Towers. It was a first for a lot of things. First use of a tower crane, first use of flying forms, first use of fiberglass forms, a lot of innovation. I totally redid G Concourse for American Airlines. That was a $80-some million project. Through the years, we've done a lot of work in Florida. I think the last project we completed there was in Miami. We did the Browns Stadium in, I believe that would be Cleveland. I mean, years ago we did the subway in Washington, D.C.
I mean, what would bring you out to, to like Florida or Washington or something like that? I mean, would it really have to be that project?
A lot of it's just the project fits.
I would say we tend to follow a client at their request, I think, for the most part.
What is the scope of an average McHugh project? Roughly how many people are on site on one particular job? And
of course it has to do with the size of the project. Obviously a bigger job, a high-rise, there's going to be hundreds.
That's always a challenge, especially building in the city.
Especially building in the city. Lot line,
delivery.
In between buildings, you know, you have a 18-foot alley to bring everything in through. One alley. And
there's restrictions.
Compared to downtown.
Oh, compared to downtown. Residential areas, you know, there's time restrictions. You can't start making any noise till 8 o'clock. So there might be traffic issues where you can't block that street pulling in trucks till after 9 o'clock when the city says it's okay. I mean, you got to be good neighbors.
Yeah,
you have to be able to work with your surrounding environment and your neighbors.
Was the McHugh affected by the recession? I mean, in what ways?
Yeah, I think we've been affected by the recession. I hope McHugh's strong enough to last through this. I believe we are.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like
I think we can manage.
Yeah.
They've also been very careful. I think they really started this project 2 years ago to at least temporarily readjust their emphasis and start seeking out more infrastructure work. You're seeing a lot more bridge work, road work.
CTA, Metro.
So this is almost even kind of, I mean, if you want to put a positive spin on it, a good thing, because it's kind of opening your horizons to new things. Or
You know, we've done it in the past. I think it's more of a repositioning. We're fortunate that our experience and our expertise is broad enough that we can.
Let's shift gears over to like I guess like the architecture side of it. How often does an architect come down on site? Do they ever come down on site? You know, how often do they get involved?
You know, a smaller job. You know, maybe they're out here once or twice a month.
Yeah.
Just seeing how the project's going.
Okay.
But in our day-to-day operations, early in the project and through the middle of the project, we're constantly in contact with them, asking questions, posing RFIs, getting clarifications on the drawings. Just, you know, it is a partnership, and the contractor and the architect have to work together.
Yeah.
You know, building the structure of the building, getting out of the ground, you're constantly in contact with the structural engineer. You know, after the building's up and you're starting the interior stuff, you're constantly in contact with the architect.
With this whole green movement, what are some of the things that you've seen McHugh kind of do innovative-wise, or is there anything construction-wise that's been done?
You know, the whole sustainability issue is kind of tricky from a contractor standpoint because a lot of it is really design-driven.
Yeah.
There's only so much we can do within the parameters that the owner sets and the architects set. You know, that being said, we do our best in the pre-construction phase to work with the project team to try and come up with more and more and more sustainable features. You know, there's things we could do on our own also. We really try and make our best efforts for on-site recycling, You know, I mean, it is now a City of
Yeah.
Chicago requirement,
Yeah, I
but
noticed that.
it's something that we've been proactive with.
I would love to see more of a shift in the integrated design process as far as if you get some of those contractors in there or maybe some of those engineers in there to kind of talk with the architect about maybe some design features that might be more sustainable. Because there's some things I'm sure you guys know that architects don't. As far as myself, I'm an architect student. What kind of things should I kind of maybe try and get into? Some things would you like to see some more architect students get involved with?
I think it would always benefit you to work with some tools.
Yeah.
Work with a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of young architects never work in the field. They design this grandioso building, and how do you build it?
Yeah.
You got to have both aspects working.
The more time you can make field visits and things like that, I mean, just the more exposure for anybody connected in this business, the more exposure you have is extremely valuable.
I guess just to wrap things up, I was just kind of wondering, what was your favorite project that you worked on?
Wow. That's a tough one. There's been a lot of good ones. Concourse at O'Hare was, that's a trip working out, you're out with planes rolling all over the place and you're just trying to get things done. You're dealing with the public.
Yeah.
You're tearing this thing completely apart, but they still have to get through those gates. I mean, even down to some of the smaller ones, like when I did the Blvd Tollway Oasis. And it was just so much fun just to work. All our contractors were local, and it was just you're used to the big city, and everybody's just kind of hustle bustle. And, now you walk into the Ace to pick something up, and you walk in and hey, how you doing this morning? Like wondering who they're talking to.
I remember the first project I did from foundations up to the roof with my previous employer, and not knowing a flipping thing. Putting in carpet before the roof's done. Stuff like that. And I did it. And I did it because we were on a time schedule, and I thought that was the only thing to do was hit that schedule and do it. It said carpet install on Monday. I installed carpet on Monday. Well, the roof's not done. Well, get the roof done. So you just learn through every project, and I'll never forget my first project. I worked my way through it, and I learned so much on that first. My learning curve on that first project was, straight up and down.
Because, and hearing these responses too have kind of made me think about, the title of, okay, this architect built this building, or, that architect built that building. And it sounds like more of the contractor is more involved, or more the one that does all that type of thing.
It is the duty of the general contractor to kind of take the back, let the accolades fall to the architect. That's how it is, and that's how it will always be. And I don't think that will ever change. I think that's fine. I don't think a McHugh gets into the building to win accolades, and it's a different ego, good or bad. It's just a different ego.
Nobody else gets to drive past a building or walk past it every day and say, I made that.
Yeah.
And the contractors get to do that.
Right.
And we know in our heart of hearts that we made that. They
So
may have designed it, the owner may have financed it, but we made it.
I can still drive past and see that first project I worked on, when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And and it's still there, and everything still looks good. And you're driving around your kids, and
Yeah.
Dad worked there, did this, did that.
It's satisfying.
Yeah.
Satisfying.